If you are somebody who has attachment to people, especially anxious attachment, which I guess this video will be so useful for, detachment is going to be your most powerful tool to use. I think my story in essence is before I learned the art and the power of detachment, I was like a piece of a log, a stick in the ocean where I could be thrown from one side to the other according to how another person felt or what happened. Now, detachment is not, and I'll go into this more later, completely disregarding or ignoring your feelings, but it's often talked about when it comes to ideas in your life that you really wanted to happen, like marriage, having children, things that you cannot control. Essentially, you cannot control what partner you're going to meet, and furthermore, you cannot control what that person does. It's the conscious acknowledgement that you cannot control other people and you will drive yourself crazy if you try. You cannot do it. So in trying to do it, in trying to check their phone, in trying to look through their messages, in trying to drive yourself crazy in the idea of control, you're actually hurting yourself. You cannot find and you will not find safety in trying to control another human being or an outcome. And that's what you're searching for, right? If you're anxious in life, you're searching for a stability, a groundedness, and you won't find it in them. You're going to find it in you. So you need to create a space and a temple in your own reality that stands like a standstill kind of threshold, that everything else around you is something nice and a beautiful addition to the cake that is you. And it can knock you, sure. Things can knock the cake, things can make it wobble, you know what I mean? Things can hurt you, and it doesn't mean you're bionic or robotic. But the texture and the quality of you will not change, because this outside thing is not an ingredient that makes the cake. It's just something outside of it. It's not part of the ingredients. I think the last thing I want to say before we go into how to use it and what it means is a story, and that is when you hone the art of detachment, you can start to breathe light and gratitude into things that normally we don't feel gratitude for. I now feel so grateful for my ex that cheated on me. It's a distant memory to me because this was over 10 years ago, but it's definitely something I want to share with you because I think it will help you in the process of understanding it. Sometimes when you're a person who either comes from anxious attachment or you're a woman, women often want to make things work and fix things and attach to ideas and concepts, people. We will hone in like a missile into making something work, and sometimes we'll even find a guy, like I suppose I did, who's not exactly that into you, or maybe they are, but not that much where they're going to invest their life in you. And we just decide that that's the person for us, like do or die, that's what I'm going to decide. And I think I did that. There was many signs where I shouldn't have been in that relationship. We can go in another video, or I'm starting a podcast, by the way, so we can have our deeper meaningfuls there. Leave me any comments of what you want talked about in the podcast, because it's going to be a little bit more intimate. But all the signs were there. Sometimes when people have huge attachment to things or concepts, what happened to me is he cheated on me. And you know why that's an amazing blessing now that I come from the angle of detachment? Because if I didn't have something smack me in the face, like something that completely broke my boundary, for me that's cheating, I wouldn't have left him. People like us, we just stay and work through things despite it being unpleasant, because we're almost blind to the fact that we are here to live one life and the quality of it needs to be amazing. The man needs to add something to your life. You don't need to struggle like a mule up the hill of life with him on your back doing nothing. Why? Were you born to carry this man on you, or woman, if you're a real man watching this, at the detriment to you? And I sometimes feel now, coming from the concept of detachment, that the world, God, universe was like, yo, smacked me in the face and was like, stop. You are not going to be attached to this person. The only thing that could have made me break out of that habit and, yep, we're going to work on this, we're going to try hard, we're going to do this, we're going to do this thing, lemon water, try it, amazing for you, is this system breaker. And you've almost got to realize that, I say this often to people who talk to me who go through their partner's phone, that wouldn't you rather detach from the concept of them? Like, you've got to love them. But wouldn't you rather detach from the concept of them being the be-all and end-all of your life? Like, without them, you will crumble. You are 100% of a person. You're not 50%, 50%. You're not an apple that comes together. You're two apples that make up a fruit bowl, okay? Wouldn't you rather detach from that? Because you know what? Wouldn't you rather live your life beautifully now, not going through their phone? Why are you going through their phone? I know why people do it. Because they are so terrified. They want to find out. They want to find out now because they are attached to the idea of what this partner brings, and they want to make sure that they've made the right choice, because that partner's reality and how they see you and what they are doing is so important. And of course, I'm human. I struggle with this too. Not with the phone checking. I cannot even begin to tell you how useless of a practice that is, because if you want to find something, you will. And that means not that everyone cheats and every man cheats. There is no everyone. There is no such thing as everyone. It cannot be in everyone. This is the thing. If you want to find something, you will, means if your mindset is one that is predicated on that person being the be-all and end-all of you, and you finding something they've done wrong, said wrong, breathed wrong. It could have been in the past, babe. You know, it could be in the past. It could be something. You will find it. If you want to demise to your relationship, if you are convinced that that person is somehow wrong to you, you will, number one, find something. And number two, you are orchestrating your relationship in a way that you're cornering that person. You are thinking badly of them. And the way to make a person do good to you is to already speak into them as if they are. But that's a whole other video. So, detachment. What is it? Detachment essentially means the ability to separate yourself, your entity, your being, the cake that you are, from a person or a goal. It doesn't mean coldness. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're robotic or some kind of psychopath. It just means you have a deep root and a deep knowledge that you can weather storms, and that you are your own entity and your own being, and you have your own blessings and your own path to walk. And like I said before about the cheating fiasco, you can look back and go, wow, this happened for me to go on to better things. This happened for me because if this didn't happen to me, I would still be trying to make it work. And who wants that? The reason detachment is important to cultivate is because the more you detach from people or outcomes, the more you hone who you are as a person. The more you get to know yourself, the more you rely on your own personal power, and the more you've got something to come back to. It's like creating a best friend out of yourself. It's like cultivating something that is so strong and powerful, and essentially coming off the back of anxious attachment, it reduces anxiety in a huge way. Because why do we feel anxious? We feel anxious and like we rely on somebody because in our childhood some needs didn't get met, obviously. Our father was absent. Our mother wasn't available. Somebody said something, some experience at school, whatever it could be, something occurred where we realized that we've got a grasp for people's attention and people's time and people's opinion of us, and outside of it, we cannot have our own. Detaching from people's ideas of us, you know, that question like, oh, what does he think of me? Does he think I'm cute? Does he like me? Does it matter? Does it matter? It will play out as it plays out. Detachment also allows you as a woman not to chase people. It allows you to lean back in your natural self and understand that the person who you are attractive to will be attracted. It also allows you to not disappear into the ether of nothingness, because often when we are so attached to people and things, we start to emulate what we think they like. And I don't know if you've ever been around a person who tries to say, yeah, oh, what's your favorite color? Red. Me too, my favorite color is red. You stop seeing who they are because they're not a developed human being. And in psychology, one of the first rules of attraction is that person is deeply themselves. In fact, there's a theory, I don't remember the name, but if somebody tells you that they love chocolate cake and it's the favorite thing that they love, you shouldn't rush off and make that chocolate cake. You should say, oh, I like cheesecake. You should say what you like and give them the best cheesecake you ever made. You should not rush off to fit into the paradigms of their reality just because they love chocolate cake and their mum made the best one. You need to say, but I'm here to bring blueberries. I'm here to bring cheesecake. And it's going to be the best damn cheesecake you have tried. But how can you discover your reality if you're always attached to other people's reality and performing in the circus as the monkey that is their reality? You're going to lose yourself. And then you're going to realize you're replaceable, because most human beings on this earth are attached to people and outcomes. So the way to become irresistible and irreplaceable is to detach, is to say, hey, this is me, this is my world, this is my space, and I'm okay. It will reduce your anxiety significantly. There is even exciting times, and exciting is interesting because anxious and excitement kind of cross over at times. You know, if you feel the feeling, it's kind of similar. Just one is expansive and positive and one is negative. There are times when I practice it where I want to know where a certain person is or why they haven't replied, and you can just sit with yourself and you can go, wow, what will truly happen if they don't reply? Like, what will truly happen if they don't like me back? I hope nothing. I hope nothing. The only time where I see that detachment is not deployable is when it's a loved one and they've gone missing, you know what I mean? Like they haven't replied to you. I understand, we're all human. It's not a lack of emotion for sure. You know, detachment might literally save your life, or it could at least save your sanity and ironically get you to where you want to go. There are so many ways to take this conversation, and maybe it's going to be over several videos, but essentially, detachment is the law of assumption. It's the law of attraction. It's everything. It is taking care of yourself first and letting others take responsibility of themselves without trying to punish them or trying to control them. So it's taking care of yourself first. I'm just trying to repeat that so you really hear it, without taking responsibility for others so that they can do what they need to do, because you are born as you and you are here as you, and you literally have no control over other people. You have some illusion of control, maybe a delusion of control, because, you know, that's what we're bombarded with. We're told all the time, you know, do this to affect that person, or when you get married or when you get this job, you're going to feel this type of way about yourself. But in reality, it's just a recipe to drive yourself crazy. Detachment can help you control your reality without letting it control you. You can literally decide to control what is in your control and let go of the things that you can't. It is the knowledge of knowing that you are enough in this current existence, and that something outside of yourself, and predominantly for everybody who's listening, I think it's a person outside of themselves, not necessarily a job or an achievement or a piece of structure or something like that. It's a person outside of yourself cannot complete you and cannot create a sense of happiness that you feel you are missing in your life. You are not missing that. You have everything inside you that you currently need in order to create your reality, because if you want to be happy, be it. Things outside you need not to be able to control you. It's about the knowledge that it's about the journey, not the destination. That there is no goal or no person or no family or no marriage that you can have that is going to define you truly. And it's hard to believe when you haven't yet got there. But many times when people reach their destination, I'm sure you've heard celebrities talk about it, or people who are successful, they say, wow, at the end of the day, I wake up with me, the same old me that I always was. And I'm not saying that material things or a relationship or marriage isn't amazing. It is amazing. And a lot of my other videos are about that. But I will say, if you learn detachment, which I will go into in a minute, how to do it, where to do it, how to deploy it, and how to hone it, if you use it, you can ironically attract all the right things in your life, because the desperate energy that you deploy when you do not detach, when you're totally attached to ideas and people, is the thing that often will drive those people and ideas away from you. You see what I mean? Nothing has to be how you imagined it or perfect. Also, detachment will give your partner the freedom to come closer to you. If you are not detached from ideas, people, and situations, you are often trying to control them or the result. People feel that. People are energetic beings. They feel that your life and purpose is predicated on their actions and reactions. How can they be free to be themselves? Things you can do in order to practice detachment is meditation, visualization, journaling. You know all of those, I'm sure. If you're watching this video, you've heard about them. Writing out the reality of your life and how you want it to go. Even when people are involved, I'm sure you can involve them. But writing out a reality and visualizations of who you want to be, a self-concept, getting really obsessed about the idea of where you are going and who it is you are. I guess we've just discussed this, right? So it's about the idea of, who am I cultivating? If I'm a vegetable, how am I growing myself? What vegetable am I? You know what I mean? I don't know why that vegetable metaphor comes to mind, but it's more like, you know how people are proud to grow the biggest cucumber at the fair or whatever? What is it? You are your own self-project. You need to get as obsessed as you feel about other people, about yourself, to hang the concept of self-worth on your own ideas, on your own visualizations of you, and not on them. Because if you're sitting there and focusing constantly about when he's going to propose, he's not got anything to propose to, because you've become a mirror of his expectation. Another one is cognitive reframing, and you've just seen me do an example of it. I could have been like, oh, I've been cheated on, I'm not worth it, I don't like myself, why would someone do that? I don't have those thoughts. At the time, I might have had some kind of thoughts like that, but I don't even remember it, to be honest, because I've cognitively reframed. You need to write down all the ideas that you have about yourself, especially when someone's not replying to you or someone's not fitting into your paradigm of reality and you need to detach. You need to write down all the scared thoughts you have, like, it's not fair, or I don't like this, or they're not replying to me because they don't like it. And you need to reframe. This is a great opportunity, because if this person ghosts me, I won't have wasted my time on them. This is a great opportunity because now I get to see sooner rather than later, when I'm married with children, that this person isn't for me. Thank you, Lord, universe, whoever you believe in, for showing me earlier. Cognitive reframing, have a look at what it means, is that ability to control the frame in which you put an idea. Every idea can be reframed. Truly, it can. Try it. I think another thing to talk about when it comes to detachment is detaching, not from people, but from your own thoughts as well. I think after I had my child, you often get like intrusive thoughts, like, oh no, what if this happens? What if that happens? You get really intense about like their safety and all those things. And I read in a book once, you know, it's the old adage of be like water, my friend, and Bruce Lee, that when you're feeling your emotions and the ideas that come to you, you're not standing in the river of your emotions being thrown around, but you come out of the river and you look at the water and you observe them, right? So as I started to observe my thoughts of like, oh no, what if something happens? What if this chair falls? What if that thing happens? If any mums are here, I'm sure you'll comment that, you know, you had those thoughts. It's very common. I read in a book where it was discussing the psychology of postpartum. A person was talking about how, you know, they were always scared when they were carrying their child down the steps that they would drop them. And the only thing that helped their mind shift is when they stood on the stairs in almost like a meditation and were like, okay, so what if that happens? Take me there, brain. Let's do this. Like, you're fearing, brain, because you want to protect me. But I'm here and I'm willing to observe you and meditate through this. I'm willing to weather this storm. And I think mine only subsided when I stepped into that, observed my emotions, and at the end I was able to say, oh, I'm only thinking these things because I love my child so much. This is my brain protecting me of any dangers. And instead of being like, oh, why am I thinking this? I started to think, oh, thank you, brain, for trying to, you know, make sure that I'm safe and that he is safe. In terms of your attachment to people, step away, use this as an opportunity to get to know yourself. What am I afraid of? That that person doesn't like me anymore? Okay. Are we going to end up alone? Okay. And where would that leave us? Where would we go? Like, try and face your reality and yourself and understand you've always got you. When it comes to detachment and work, I think my workflow increased and completely stepped up into another notch when I detached from the outcome. I spent a very long time in my youth doing careers that I plotted and pathed and kind of pushed because I was very attached to the outcome as opposed to really observing myself. I enjoy talking about who I really am and what people resonate with. I think also detachment can work in terms of not even when it comes to people or relationship, but in terms of sometimes you might have ideas of yourself or what it is you think you need to be. You might be thinking, oh, I need to go to a certain college or a certain university in order to achieve A, B, C, D, F, G, and you're so focused on a goal and an outcome that you forget to observe yourself, and detachment can help in that as well, where you just step away and go, there are so many paths in life, as Steve Jobs said, sometimes all these connecting dots of random things you do end up putting you in the place where you want to go. Detachment really works when you're practicing the journey, like you're enjoying the journey and you're learning self-growth and you're really living in the moment and you're enjoying who you are in that moment. It's that like whole practice of, you know, when I said about like worrying that somebody's going to leave you or all that stuff, why worry? Why not be with them and enjoy the process right now and try not to see the outcome, because essentially you will see it. Like the world always reveals itself. Lies don't often stay as lies, and you will instinctively know and you will see them, but you will be prepared for anything that happens, because let's say even something does go wrong, you would have had a really great time in the time that it didn't. Why prepare for things that might not even happen? I think the biggest thing to take away is if you really do start to practice it a little bit more and say that I'm an entity in myself, I've got this, learn about yourself, get obsessed with your journey, really be on it, you will see that you start to magnetize people and opportunities to you. Desperate energy is really difficult to deal with for people, for the universe, for everything. So it's hard for things to come to you when you operate from a level of desperation. So when you start to deploy and practice this detachment, not in a cold, not in a cynical, not in a horrible way, you're still a human being, you're still gonna feel, you're still gonna be everything that you wanna be, but you are gonna know you got this. And slowly over time, the way you're gonna see it's working is when someone's gonna say something you don't necessarily like, you're not gonna be reactive. You're gonna be slower to react to things, and you're gonna act and not react, because you would have detached from outcomes and you would be acting on the things you want to do as opposed to reacting. He said this, he said that, I'm going to lose this person, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. It's just too much. And the reality is, in this world, things are not certain. And if you allow yourself to be thrown around by the world and not have an inner center, you're going to spend most of your life trying to get back up on your feet, as opposed to moving towards where you want to go. I'm going to add some books about detachment into my Amazon list. I'll leave that below. I think a lot of things I talk about, like the 20 feminine energy principles, which is my course, you can get it in my website as well, is part of that. I grew up very pushing, very dependent on other people's opinion, very masculine, and I think a part of my journey of self-discovery is feminine energy and detachment and flow. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope it helped you. I'll see you on the next one. Love you lots. Bye.